Patty, thank you so much for being with me today, and I see you brought a little friend with you.
Yes, this is my Mae Bea Baby doll.
Mae Bea Baby.
Yes,
Okay.
and she's a puppet,
Uh-huh.
and all you do is sculpt the face and the hands, and then you make a little dress for her.
Uh-huh.
And you can surprise everybody when she starts moving.
I like that. And you have the body, so if a person wanted to
Right.
put it all together and use it as a little decorative accent in the bedroom.
Yeah, our kids want to take it and drag around with it, then you just put the body on it, and they can carry it like that.
Well, I have to tell you, I've tried body sculpting before, and I know how to embroidery, and that's what it always seems to me like I should do, is use embroidery to do the eyes and the mouth. But this is all done reverse, and I think that's why I've never really caught on to it.
Well, you know, simple stitches is more important than to start with, because sometimes we try to do features of the nose and all that,
Yeah,
and this
that's
is the
tough.
most simplest thing you can start with, and it's a no-fail.
Oh.
You just start kind of practicing about the tension that you pull on the
Oh,
thread.
maybe that's it.
Yes, but I start out, and it's hose. I like to
Pantyhose?
get the cheap hose, not the one that's gonna, you know, keep your legs in nice and tight. This is just cheap, like no nonsense. And then you're going to stitch around the outside. You're going to make the circle,
Just a
stitch
little
around
running
the
stitch,
outside.
just-
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Then you're going to do another one, because as you start, then once you get the second one in, it gives a little more support.
Oh, okay.
And so as you start, then you have a little bit more that you can pull up. And so
You certainly don't want it to break halfway through.
no, and it will also rip the fabric if
Oh,
you
sure.
don't have a lot of support. Obviously, I used a red thread, but you
To
would
show.
want to use, you know, the color. And then I start stuffing, and this is important also, that you get a stuffing that is the premium, a little bit more softer, because sometimes it comes through the hose and looks kind of not good.
And some of the less expensive, there'll be lumps
Right.
or little nubs.
And that will show through that.
I
Yeah,
bet.
because that's very thin. And so I actually used, this is tights.
Oh,
And so you could use
And
something
they're a
a
little
little
thicker.
bit stronger, but it doesn't have the resilience of pulling in and sculpting really, really nice.
Okay.
Although she was sculpted with the pair of
Tights.
tights.
Oh.
Yes. So now, as I'm stuffing, I want to go around again. I just want to keep going around, because it evenly pushes the stuffing in and pulls up evenly. And so then once I get those, it's stuffed to a point where I want it, then I'm going to take this curler,
or any type of rod of
right,
some sort.
for my finger to go in, and then I'm going to place that
I
in.
see.
And then I'm going to stitch that, because these curlers have a hole in
I
the
see.
sides.
That's a great
You can just
tip.
stitch that right up on there.
We're reusing something.
Yes, right. And so I'm going to keep on going around, snug it up to that curler until I have the circle exactly where I want it. Okay.
And you can make it slightly oval or chubby or
right,
whatever shape
right.
you want.
Sometimes it just does what it wants to.
Oh, okay.
So then what I have to do is I have to look at the sides to see which is the best. Now, most people want to sculpt like this. On this one, because you have to have your finger in the head, you'll need to have it where it's down like this.
Oh, I had never thought about
So
that.
this is
Okay.
like a shape of a head versus just the face.
Okay.
But you can do either way. But on this case, we're doing it here on the front,
Okay.
of the head. And so I have this little template right here.
That would be helpful.
We'll move this out of the way.
Yeah.
And so then I could actually put this template on, poke the holes in it, and I would know exactly where I was going with it.
That's
So-
a guide, because to me it's hard to envision where the start of the
Right.
eye and the end of the eye should be.
You just need to make sure that this is level so
Okay.
that you get them even. And that's not hard to do once you, you know, get a look. So I have my little dots on here. And so now I'm going to just move this out of the way so we can take a look. And I use the one that air erases, but it tends to stay with this hose.
Oh.
So then I'll take a Q-tip and wipe it off when I'm
Right.
done. Okay, so this is how simple it is. you start at the bottom in the center, and you're going to go straight up, and you always want to keep your needle straight up and down. So I don't want to angle. If I angle my needle, it's going to end up pulling in different direction.
And you do what type of needle are these called? Darning
needles? Oh yes,
needles?
this is actually. Whoops,
she's running away.
This is actually a doll sculpting needle.
Oh.
So you can get them as much as 5 inches, and this one is a 3.5-inch one. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in at this center dot by the nose, and then I'm going to come down, straight down again. See
Close
how
to
I'm
where you
straight
started.
down? And then as I pull this, you will see how that indents. So you see how we got the indentation on that? And now I'm going to stitch over so that I'm back in the center. Now if you don't stitch over, you'll have a pull again. And so now I'm going to go up.
That's why it's good to have these dots, because it would be easy to lose track of where you started.
Right. And no matter what face you're going to do, you need the nose and the eyes and the mouth to be the guide. Now I'm going to come back out this eye and down to the other side. Now watch how that pulls in. And so as I'm pulling, I want to pull both of the eyes the same. So I'm going to pull this one more, and then I'm going to release it. And now I'm going to hold on to this one, and I'm going to take a stitch.
I was going to ask you, what if you decide you should have pulled more on the first one, so you can still do it?
Yes,
at
I
the
just
same
hang
time.
on to this one, okay? And so now, see what I have? These
Little
are
sleeping
actually,
eyes.
these are actually good. And you can, move the stuffing around a little bit by squeezing a little bit. Okay, so now we're going to do the bridge of the nose and go into the nose. And so I'm going to come up, and again, I'm straight up and down. And I'm coming in at the same area, but I don't want to come in the same hole, because then I could end up making a hole in the fabric.
Oh, I see.
And so I'm going to pull this over, and then this is real important that you stay under the fabric this time, and you pull up.
And you didn't go back through that same hole, either one of the holes, actually.
Right, and I'm coming out this one, and it's just a little bit shy of where I was there, because otherwise you're going to start maybe having holes come in there.
And do you always just use one thread?
One thread,
You never double it?
No, I don't double it, because then you get more thread on there. Now I'm going to go back in, and I'm going to go back over the second time, and the way that my instructions will say is I left the thread over, or I bring the thread under. And so now, as I'm pulling this up, you see how that little bridge of the nose comes up? Now I'm going to go down to the nose, and again, it's real important to get a good little bit of stuffing there. And then,
and why did you go to this instead of like maybe here?
That's the nose, and this is the mouth.
Oh, that's the mouth. I thought that was part of the nose.
Yes.
No
Nose
wonder
comes
I have
first.
trouble.
Nose is higher than the mouth. And so now we're going to come up to the same place, because we, again, want to stay in the same area. But we don't want to be in the same hole. And it kind of buries itself in, so you don't have any problem with that. And so now I'm going to come over again, and do you see how that little nose is starting to form? And now when I go back down, I'm going to go on the other side. And as I keep this straight and continue to go up and down and go way down in, these little dollies, they form exactly the way that they need to. It's just
That's encouraging.
the way it is. And so now I'm going down to the mouth and out that hole, over to the other side.
So it doesn't take a lot of stitching
No.
to create. I think maybe that was another problem I had.
Yeah. And here you go.
Keep it simple.
Now watch. See how that starts to take form? Now if I wanted to make a little bit more definition in the nose, I could come up, back up and down on the nose, but I can also pull this up just a little bit, and this is why it's called needle sculpting. And so basically, once I get that the way I want it, the mouth pulled in the way I want it, I'm going to just go down to the bottom, hang on to that thread and hang on to the eye right there, and then take my stitch and close it off.
I can see it from the side. I can actually see a profile. That's amazing.
And you know, there's not a lot to a baby's face. It's small,
Subtle.
little bit of nose, and so you put little eyelashes on this. You rub a little bit of color on the mouth, and
Maybe a little blush on
look
their
real
cheeks.
sweet. Yes,
Yeah.
and a little bit of blush, and I just take a little slight bit of just maybe beige eyeliner or eyeshadow, and just brush that on real carefully because it carries the color.
And you should
it
start
stays
with
right
less
with
and
it.
add more.
Yes, absolutely.
Right.
So I always wipe it off before I put it on.
And then had added the little hair, and then the bonnet
Yes.
covers everything else. Well,
this
this
is
is
just fur.
adorable. I'm going to have to go through the instructions again because I see where I made some mistakes. Thank you so much, Patty, for showing us how to make these
You are
adorable little
welcome.
dolls.
Thank you for having me.